Hello team and welcome back to the channel. So before starting the video, I would request you please subscribe to the channel. It takes lots of hard work and effort to create such hands-on videos for you. And as you can see, I have started lots of series which will help you a lot. For example, currently we are working on this series real-time CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so basically in this series I am guiding you with how to build and deploy different kind of applications. For example, as of now we have built Node.js based application, Java based application. Then recently our latest video was on Python web app, okay, where I showed how to build a Python based application. And today we are going to build and deploy a .NET based application. Okay, so yeah, I would really appreciate you. If you want to thank me for creating such videos, you can just subscribe to the channel. It does not cost anything, but it helps me and motivates me a lot to create such more videos. Okay, now coming to today's topic. So yeah, one more thing, in case you want to directly connect to me, if you are having any queries or you need any kind of guidance through me, you can just follow me on Instagram and you can ping me. Basically I post whatever behind the scenes videos and pictures. Okay, so if you are interested, you can follow me. Also, if you are having any queries you want to resolve, you can just ping me there. Okay, so coming here, today what we are going to do is build and deploy a .NET based application. And let me just walk you through this application and how we are going to build this application. Okay, so if you have watched my recent video that was on like building and deployment of Python based application, you would remember we used a specific kind of file which is known as makefile. Okay, here also we are going to use the same similar makefile. So basically a makefile is a file which has all the steps defined which we can perform. Okay, and it makes everything easier for building and deployment of application. For example, in the first section from here to here, if you see, these are some of the environment variables we have created which have certain default values which we are going to change obviously because we need to deploy the application, right? So these are certain default values which are going to be used in this. Okay, so here if you look closely, certain keywords written: help, lint, image, push, run and deploy. Okay, so here basically for each keyword we have defined a step which will perform specific tasks. For example, let's say I want to build a Docker image. Okay, so for image keyword I have written the command as docker build dot then location of the Docker file, and location will be inside build folder. Okay, and also you can see we are here tagging the image as well using the variables which we have defined is this side. Okay, so here specific image docker hub registry will be used, and then we are going to tag the image. Okay, similarly if you want to push the Docker image to a Docker hub repository, you can see we have created a step known as push. Okay, where we have defined the command for pushing the Docker image. Okay, let me give you a small overview about this. If I scroll down, yeah, so here basically a makefile is a standard GNU makefile which contains all the steps that we will need to build and deploy applications, including running the test cases. Okay, you can see these are some of the like steps which we will follow, right? Okay, now also just a small overview about the application. So this is similar to a Python based application where we will get the information about our VM wherever the application is getting deployed in this format, as well as we can monitor the real time CPU usage and load on the VM. Okay, and this is what this application is all about, right? Yeah, so now coming to let's start like setting up things so that we can deploy the application. Okay, so first of all we will go to makefile, and here we need to make some changes. What changes we need to make is basically we want to build a Docker image and we want that image to be pushed inside a Docker hub repository. Okay, so first of all here you can see image registry, so default value is this one, but for ourselves we need to provide the default value as docker.io. okay, then image repo. So here basically you just need to change the username, and this username is the one which we will be using on Docker hub repository. Let me just open it so that you can understand which username I'm talking about. Okay, sign in. So this is the Docker hub repository where we basically push our Docker images. Okay, and you can see this is my username Adi Jaiswal, and you can see all these images whatever we built we push just here, and you can see there are lots of images. Okay, yeah, so one thing I changed, first thing is repository URL docker.io. then username / any name you want you can put. For me it's simple, .NET-demo app. Okay, image tag you can just leave it to latest. Okay, and since we are not going to build the application, not going to deploy the application on Azure, so we don't need to change anything. Okay, leave it as it is. Now rest of the things like test hosts, src directory, these things we will just leave it as it is and commit the changes. Okay, so yeah, changes have been committed. Now again, if I open the repository, go to build. So inside build folder we have our Docker file, using which we are going to build the Docker image. So walking you through a little bit about this image, you can see we are using a base image of .NET 6.0 Alpine. Alpine, why do we use it? This is one of the questions that is asked on various interviews, because Alpine is a very small size image. Okay, usually for example, let's say I need to use a Linux image. Okay, Linux base image for Docker image. So in that case, if you took Ubuntu image or any other Linux image, the size will be in GB. But in case you are taking Alpine image, size is usually 100 MB or like 200 MB max. So that is the reason that we always go with Alpine. And Alpines basically come in different versions. Like some version will be having JDK installed, some version will be having .NET installed. So because of those reasons also we go with Alpine. Okay, and then here we are just like simply building the .NET application. Okay, and here if you look closely, we have exposed port 5000. That means on your VM, wherever you are going to deploy, should have 5000 port exposed or open. Okay, and here we are just executing this command so that we can run our application. Okay, now let us come back here. So let us create the pipeline now. Okay, certain tools we might be needing, so let's install it. We will go to available plugins, and here first of all I want to install Sonar Scanner. Okay, and also I want to use OWASP so that we can scan the source code for vulnerabilities inside dependencies or libraries. Okay, click on install. Okay, meanwhile it is getting installed, let me just quickly create the SonarQube server. Okay, so in case you have followed my Docker videos from 30 days of video, you would know how do we create containers. Very simple, docker run -d for detached mode. Okay, and let's provide a name as Sonar, and -p for port, where we will provide a host port and container port. First will be host port, that is the port on which we will access the application inside our browser, Chrome or anywhere else. And second port, which is also 9000 I'm keeping, is the container port, which will be the port exposed inside the Docker container. Okay, next we need to write the Docker image which we are going to use. For me, I'm going to use a SonarQube version. I want to use the LTS version, which is long-term support. The reason that I always go with the LTS version of all the tools, because they are like stable and they are like not having any kind of issues. Okay, click enter, and it will first fetch the Docker image from Docker Hub repository, and then it will build the create the container from the Docker image. Okay, so let us wait. I guess it will take few seconds more. Yeah, you can see the moment you see this kind of ID, that means your Docker image is created. Just to confirm, I can run the command as docker ps, and you can see container is running on port 9000. Okay, to access the container, we can go to, first of all we need the IP address of our VM. So I will copy the IP address, paste it here, and port is 9000. Okay, and you can see SonarQube is starting. Okay, so let it start. Let us now write our pipeline. Okay, and you see in all the videos I'm writing the pipeline from scratch. The reason that you should be able to understand everything, how I'm writing and how I'm doing things. Okay, click on new item, provide a name. So let's provide a name as .NET-demo, which will be the name of our application. Then here we will select the pipeline. Okay, click on OK. Now pipeline is created, and as a part of our best practice, we will select this option, discard old builds, so that not too many builds are in history which will occupy some space. Okay, so that means I just want to keep 2 builds in our history. Okay, scroll down, and here, so my suggestion which I use and I always suggest you to do is take a sample pipeline hello world. Okay, now the reason that I say to take a sample pipeline, because it becomes much easier to write pipelines afterwards. Okay, for example, let me create multiple stages which we will edit. Okay, second stage, third stage, 4 stages. Okay, 4 stages I have copied now. Okay, so first stage in our pipeline will be git checkout, which is the step to create a local copy of our source code repository. Okay, you can see the repository is here, so we want to create a copy of it. Okay, in case you are doing like writing pipelines for the first time, or like you do not have much experience, always take help from pipeline syntax, and this will give you a proper guidance, or like even the source code, exact code what you need to write. Okay, so here we will check the git. Now here we need to provide the repository URL, so I will just copy it from my repository, paste it here. Branch will be master, and since repository is public, so we don't need to provide any credentials. Okay, then generate pipeline script. Now simply we will just copy this and paste it here. Now our first stage is complete. Okay, next stage that I want to perform is the OWASP scan. Okay, dependency check. Okay, few things I will tell you. So many people are simply saying that you should not just learn so many tools. In reality, DevOps is definitely a flow. DevOps is not a single tool or technology. It's a group of, first of all, different kind of ways. Okay, different best, like building a deployment of application using best practices. Okay, so when we say best practices, that means we are doing everything properly. Okay, that means we need to make sure that our pipeline as well as our source code, they are secured. Okay, and OWASP dependency check is one of the best tools for building and for scanning your source code for vulnerabilities. Okay, it will scan the dependencies and libraries being used in your project, and it will find out if any specific version that is used is vulnerable or not. Okay, so for dependency check, to make sure that we are able to use it, we will go to dashboard, then manage Jenkins. Then here, since you remember that we already installed the plugin dependency check, so we will go to tools, scroll down, and you might see this option, dependency check installation. Just provide the name as DC, install automatically, and select install from GitHub. For me, since several versions I used, and the most stable for me, actually which works very fine with me, is 6.5.1, so I usually go with it. Okay, and other than that, you remember we have installed SonarQube also, so let us configure it. Name I want to provide is Sonar Scanner. Version you can just leave it to be latest. Okay, click on apply. These two tools we have configured, right? Also, you remember we created SonarQube container also, so let's log in. By default, when you create a SonarQube through Docker container, default user password is admin. Password will be admin. Okay, click on login. Okay, now here once you are able to log in, it will ask you to change the password, so let us change it. The new password I will just keep as Aditya. Click on update. Now password will have been updated. Okay, and as I told previously also, that when you want to connect a different server with Jenkins or any other thing, you need to have certain things, for example the URL and certain credentials, right? So we already have the URL of SonarQube, this one, right? Next, what we need to do is generate the credentials. So for that, I'm going to go to administration, security, and users, and here click on tokens, provide a token name as T1, and generate. Now this token will be used as a credential. Okay, so what I need to do with credential, first of all, I will add it inside this credential. Go to global, add credentials. Kind will be secret text because we just have a token, right? ID will be sonar-cred. Same thing I will put in description, so that if anyone else sees, they will know that this specific key or password or anything is for SonarQube. Okay, next thing what we need to do is go to manage Jenkins, go to system, and here we are going to configure SonarQube server. Okay, so if I scroll down, we should be able to see this option, SonarQube servers, and here we have add SonarQube. Okay, so I want to provide the name as Sonar and server URL. So URL will be 9000. Copy this and let us paste it here. Now make sure that you remove the slash. because when you are going to use quality gate with SonarQube, basically SonarQube needs to trigger a webhook. Okay, so for it to work properly, you need to have this removed. And then here we already added SonarCred, so that is fine. Click on add. Now big part is completed. Next, as we were in OWASP dependency check, right? So for OWASP dependency check, we have certain steps which we need to follow. So let me show you what steps. OWASP. So this is the command that we are going to use. Okay, this is a default command which I have just saved. So in order to use it further, okay, let me explain what is written. Dependency check. So that means we are calling dependency check. Okay, then we have additional arguments. That means there are certain arguments available which you can use to perform specific task. For example, here you can see I have written -- scan, and then I'm providing a specific path. -- scan means that a path where I want to perform this scanning. So I have written /, that means root directory you need to scan. Then ODC installation, that means OWASP dependency check installation. As you remember, we have configured in Jenkins tools as DC. Okay, and then we have dependency check publisher, where we are defining in what format our report should be generated. Okay, coming to next stage. So here I'm going to I want to perform Trivy scan. Actually, Trivy is another tool which can perform vulnerability scanning on our Docker image as well as file system. The reason that you might think why I'm using both the tools together for file system scan, the reason because OWASP dependency check has limited access to databases of the vulnerabilities, while Trivy has like very vast list of database which it uses for scanning the dependencies. Okay, so let's provide the name as fs scan. Okay, and here for using Trivy, basically we need to 1 second, let me unfold it. Yeah, so basically when we want to use Trivy, what we need to do, we need to install Trivy on our VM wherever we are like running the commands. Okay, and I have the list commands to install Trivy, which is this one. So let me install it. The reason that I always show everything from scratch, because it is very much necessary to learn everything how things happen. Okay, and that's why I try to, like, in each video I'm just doing everything again and again, so that you can understand why we are doing specific thing or why we are whatever, like you get my point. Okay, so yeah, packages. Now what we are doing now is adding packages for Trivy so that we can install it. Okay, and final command is this, to install Trivy. Yes, so Trivy has been installed. Next, to run Trivy commands, we can just to run like Trivy scan, we can simply run the command as sh Trivy. We are doing file system scan, so fs, then path where we want to scan. Simply a dot will suffice, because that means we are doing scan in the root directory. Okay, now 3 stages we have completed. Next stage would be for SonarQube analysis. Yeah, now performing SonarQube analysis is not a very easy task. Basically we need to provide the path and everything for the tool which will be used for scanning, doing the scanning on the source code. Okay, so before that, what we need to do is create an environment which will be written in this format, environment, and we will create a variable of a SonarQube scanner, will be scanner home. Okay, now here provide the name of the tool which we configured in our manage Jenkins. If I go to manage Jenkins, go to tools, scroll down, and here we can see SonarQube installation. The name was Sonar Scanner, right? So I will just put it here. Sorry about that. Sonar-scanner. Okay, Next, same thing, like we need to call it here our tool, and then we can run the commands. And in case of SonarQube, basically we are going to use different arguments which will be multi-line commands. So for multi-line commands, when you need to write in Jenkins, you need to use 3 quotes, single quotes. Now let us call SonarQube, which will be in this format: scanner underscore home slash bin, because the executable of the tool that we installed will exist inside bin. Then sonar dash scanner. Okay. This is done. Next we will use the argument dsonar dot project name. Project name I want to use is the .NET dash demo. Okay, and let's say I have like multiple lines of steps I need to write, so I will just put a slash and then I will write the next step, okay, which will be dsonar dot project key equal to I can just copy paste this command at this name. Okay, and if in case we don't have any other steps we need to add here, we can simply put triple quotes. Okay, now one thing that you need to remember, you cannot simply run this outside, okay, because we have not provided the SonarQube server details. Okay, so what we need to do is we needed to enclose our SonarQube commands inside this this format with SonarQube environment. Okay, and inside it you can see I have just written comma sonar, from where this sonar is coming. If I go to manage Jenkins system, and here if you remember, we have configured the SonarQube server with this, right, with the same name. Same thing I have just added here. Okay, basically this option with SonarQube environment you can find here inside this section. Okay, and with SonarQube environment you will see, and you just put all your things inside here. And remember, basically the command that you generate with pipeline syntax will be having credentials. So remove the credential and in single quotes put the name of the server which you have configured. Okay, now this many stages we have configured, so let us just trigger one time to see if everything is working fine. Okay, so now what will happen, it will download and install all the tools which we have mentioned, and now it is installing OWASP dependency check, which takes the whole running process of OWASP dependency check. It takes little bit of time, so let's wait for it to complete. Okay team, so as you can see, till 2023 it will download, because each year a database like list is created of all the like vulnerabilities occurred in different dependencies. So for each year it will download a specific list of information. Okay, and once it has that, then it will match all the dependencies and libraries with the information that it has. Okay, and based on that it will inform us, okay, this specific version of this dependency is not suitable for usage, kindly change the version. Okay, now you can see it has generated the report, and report is stored in this location, okay, in XML format. Now here you can see okay, trivia scan, I guess it was not able to find something or so, leave it. Okay, so I guess some issue with SonarQube scanner. Okay, no issues. So what we are going to do is configure go to manage Jenkins and change download a specific version of Java. Okay, for doing that we will go to plugins, available plugins, and search here as JDK, and let's install this. Once that tool is installed, we should be able to download different versions of OpenJDK. Okay, you can see it has installed. Go to manage Jenkins, tools, and here let's configure JDK. Let's provide a name as JDK 17 I'm going to use, and you can see some of you might see this option. Once you see this, just remove it, click on add installer after you have checked the install automatically, and click on this add Optium. Okay, and version you can select whichever you want to use. For me it's going to be 17. Click on apply. Okay, now what we are going to do is mention the same thing in our pipeline. How we will do that? Click on configure, scroll down, and here we will define our tools, curly braces, and here type of the tool is JDK, name of the tool is JDK 17. In this format we need to define. So multiple times since I have written, so it's just stuck in my mind, so I can write it. Okay, click on apply, and let's try to trigger the pipeline now. It should not be taking too much time, but let's see. You can see since we just added a new tool JDK 17, so it is taking a little bit of time to get installed. Okay, so let's wait for it to install, and then it can proceed to rest of the stages which we have configured. Okay. Okay, now you can see SonarQube analysis is success. Okay, so I guess it was just the issue of our what is that Java version. Okay, if I go to SonarQube, click on projects, and you can see our project is created inside SonarQube, and SonarQube was able to find 15 bugs. Okay, great. Now what we are going to do is build a Docker image and create a Docker container. Okay, so how we are going to do that? Again, as I say, when you want to add a stage, just copy any stage and we can start editing it. Same thing we are going to do here. And here let's provide a name as Docker build and tag. Okay. Now here, when you want to use like Docker's commands, what you need to do is basically provide credentials also. Okay. So for providing credentials, I have already installed Docker tool in Jenkins. In case you are confused which tool, I will just show you. Go to Manage Jenkins plugins here, and if I search Docker, so I have installed this Docker pipeline, Docker plugin, and Docker build step. Okay. Now coming back, yeah. So I will open pipeline syntax and take help from it. So we are going to use with Docker registry. Okay, here we need to add credentials. So basically this credentials won't be used during building process, but they will be used during pushing the image process. Okay, so I will just provide the name, the credentials that I have inside Docker Hub registry. Okay, and here we can provide a name as docker-cred. Same thing, we will just copy paste here, click on add. Here selected. Now here we don't need to select the registry URL because we are using the default Docker Hub registry. Okay, now I will copy this step, go back here, and here what we are going to do is create a script in this format, and we will run our steps inside it. Okay, so let me paste it here. Now what we need to do is, as I told, we are going to use makefile. Okay, so for using makefile, we will go back to our VM, and if I run the command as make, you can see it is not present. So we will simply install this make, and let's wait for it to complete. Yeah, now we can easily use make command in our pipelines. Okay, so let me, here I can run the command in the format as such make image. Okay, now if I run make image, basically what it will do, you can see inside our make file, we are using make image, we are building and tagging the Docker image. Okay, so let us see what happens. Okay, since we are like doing this, so what I will do, I will create the rest of the stages so that it is much easier. Yeah, so next what we want to do is push the Docker image. Okay, so for pushing the Docker image, we have the command as make push. Okay, and just let me count the brackets, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Yeah, fine. And one last stage which we need to have is let me just create it here. It is basically to deploy the container. Okay, so we can, let me just copy paste it. Here the name will be Docker push, and here basically I don't think that we need the credentials, but yeah, let me just remove this. Even we can remove till here. Now I will run the command as sh docker run -d -p, and port I want to give as 5000:5000. Then we need to provide the docker image name, which will be /jaiswal/ what is the docker image name? This one. Okay, so I will just copy this, paste it here, and yeah, it seems fine, I guess. Let's just run it, and let's monitor the, okay, some issue is there, stages. Okay, I guess I have put the same name for multiple stages, so let me correct it. Here we will provide the name as docker deploy, and that should do the task. Okay, build now. You can see it has started, so let us monitor and let's see the progress. Okay, some issue again. What is this? Permission denied. Okay. So what I'm going to do is change the permission so that we could run the docker commands. Okay, because as of now we don't have the permission on every user, so I'm just going to make certain changes. I will run this command, and let me try to execute it again, and let's see. We needed to restart, but let's see if without restart it works, then it's fine. If not, then we will restart the docker container, docker daemon basically. Okay, yeah, login succeeded. Now it is able to run. Okay, we scroll down. Basically now we are pushing the docker image. So once it is successful, Jenkins will quickly create a docker container and run our application inside it. You can see these are the details that we have provided in our makefile, and hence it is able to push the docker image also. Docker image size might be a little big. Let me see. Yeah, container is created. Okay, I just want to see the docker image size. Basically docker images, okay, size is 120 MB, so it's, I guess it's fine. Okay, so let us try to access our application by running this thing inside our browser, and yeah, great, application is running now. You can see all the things here. Okay, now if I click on monitor, you can see this will like get refreshed in every few seconds. Okay, and you can see it is just getting updated in real time. Okay, slowly it will get updated, and yeah, this is how like you deploy a .NET based application. Okay, so great. Now you got the point, like how we can build and deploy applications using of Docker based. Okay, and all those things you can see. This is a really nice application. So go on, use it and deploy using the same process, but make sure that you are editing this part. This is the most important part which you need to edit, and the source code of our pipeline, you'll be able to get it from the repository itself. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching and have a nice day.